how to decide if your business is ready to begin exporting. Exporting offers great opportunities for small businesses, a fact that's increasingly being recognised. And there's more help available than ever, with the UK government setting a target of £1 trillion worth of exports by 2020. So how do you know if you're ready to start thinking about international expansion? Well, the most important starting point is ensuring that you've already got a robust business here in the UK. Companies that succeed in exporting are those that already have a good track record here at home. So unless you're growing here and you've proven there's good demand for what you offer, exporting shouldn't be on your list of priorities. Well, not yet, anyway. But if you're doing well here, look at what your competitors are doing. If they've already recognised the potential, and it seems to be working for them, that's an encouraging sign. And it can de-risk things a bit for you too, because you'll know there's already demand that you can tap into, and that you can point to the UK being a good source for what you offer when you're talking to foreign buyers. Don't forget to look at whether there'll be local competition too. You're going to need to offer something better than them if you want to stand a good chance of thriving in this new market. And, as exporting can cost, the way that you price compared to your local competition could be a significant factor in how attractive and compelling your target customers view you. If there's no existing competition in your target market, you should do some research to see whether there's actually a demand for what you do. Make sure you can be confident about your relevance to your new target customer group and that they'll agree that you're adding the value they want and will pay for. You'll need to ensure your product or service also complies with the rules of your target country and any activity that you intend to conduct around it too. For example, in some countries, advertising an alcoholic product or selling merchandise and sponsorship relating to it isn't lawful, so don't assume that the methods you use to drive awareness and demand for your product at home will be acceptable there. Understanding the costs, logistics and HR requirements for international expansion is also important, and a good way to do this is to conduct a pilot and find a willing trading partner who can help you test the water. You may even want to consider an international agency or distribution arrangement as a better first step. There can be real benefits to someone else being responsible for administration, customs and taxes, your business's risk and insurance position, and so on. And local knowledge really does count for a lot in many cases. It's always worth investigating how far you take on the export activity yourself versus the benefits of instructing someone else to take on some of this burden to your benefit instead. Ask yourself whether you really need a local presence or if you could manage remotely or by acting through an intermediary. Finding a good distribution partner may be easier said than done though. But do look for partners who already know your target customer base, have a good cultural fit with your business, and who will rapidly be able to get up to speed with your product or service and route to market. Online sales can be a really good way to test demand too. There are rules around distance selling across borders, but again, these can usually be met or overcome without too much difficulty. And as a testing ground, offering what you do online can provide valuable data about what's in demand, from whom, and where they're based. Once you've looked at these considerations and you're comfortable with where you stand, it's time to put in place the right protections. Exporting products abroad brings financial, product, and operational risks, so definitely get the right insurance in place. And the kind of additional insurance you'll need to consider here includes insuring against the non-payment of export invoices. You might want to put in place upfront payment arrangements, using a reputable third-party payment provider, or have instalment-based payment arrangements, both of which can help you to de-risk that position. In fact, getting paid is one of the biggest challenges small businesses identify when it comes to exporting. Not everyone works to a quote and invoice structure either, and the legal rules relating to the point at which a contract has actually been struck and on whose terms might also differ materially. And you'll want to be exporting on your terms, remember, not inadvertently on someone else's, which could be far less favourable to you. If you're exporting goods, you'll want to get good marine insurance in place, which, in spite of the fact it sounds like it relates to the sea, also covers road, rail or air freight, and it's the standard term for insurance relating to goods in transit. Make sure your accountants are fully up to speed with what you're planning too, and that you've got a good system of invoicing, VAT accounting, and tax or customs duties payments in place. They'll also be able to advise you on how to manage currency fluctuations, because your profit margins can be impacted by currency rates, which don't stand still. A common practice to help manage this is to make the income you receive in a currency match the costs that you pay out for in that currency. And your advisors can also advise you, or might advise you, to borrow money in the country to which you're exporting, especially if this is a country where interest rates are lower than in the UK. Real benefits there. Get the right licenses and trading or regulatory permissions in place too. I mentioned compliance a minute ago. You'll really need to cross-check everything here too, and that's everything from how your product is transported, stored and sold, all the way down to ingredients, quantities and composition, what's on your packaging, and how and where you can sell. Make sure your legal and your tax position is really well advised. Don't take shortcuts here, it really isn't worth it. And above all, make sure the law you want to apply to your arrangement is in fact the law that will apply. So once you've taken advice, follow it. That's the only way you can minimise the risk of costly cross-border legal disputes on terms that aren't going to look after your business. Then you're going to need to think about the practical stuff too. Selling in a foreign country is probably going to mean needing different packaging, presented in the right language for that destination, potentially different sales and marketing messages, and maybe a different tone of voice. It might mean needing to set up different social media channels, for example, or growing audience for those quickly as well. Culture and language can be as much a barrier to success as affording the costs and getting the administrative paperwork right. And you'll need to consider who you may need on the ground to help make all of this happen, and to handle any mishaps, complaints, or further sales and marketing opportunities once the goods are out of your sight. Chambers of Commerce, the government's UCT site, your trade association and trade shows are a great source of further information about exporting. Gather information from respected sources and get the right advice. It will be time and money really well spent and give you the best prospects of success in exporting what you do. And above all, make sure you've got the right advisors who are properly qualified to give you the support you need.